Hello everybody and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's show we are going to talk about Amorim's lucky escape when it comes to transfers, have a little bit of debate about that, bringing Benjamin Sesko into the conversation. Elliot Anderson, top midfielder, would love him at United, but 100 million. I'm here to discuss that with you guys as well. And as you'll be able to see, there is already a poll running in the chat. I will give you more details on the poll later on. You might be thinking, why is there a poll that says right-sided centre-back, Yoro or Ligt? Well, we'll bring you the details of that later on, but for that, it includes my very good friend, Ricky, who is joining me today, this afternoon.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, you were stopping round for a coffee and I thought, Ricky, why don't you hop on the show with me?
Yeah.
I thought you guys would love it, I would love it. So, yeah, say hello to Ricky. How you feeling? Still buzzing off that win?
Absolutely buzzing, and I can't wait for Saturday. That's what happens when you start winning a few games. You really can't wait for the next one to come round, and shouldn't really say it, touch wood, but it's a winnable game again, isn't it?
It is.
I can't wait for it.
You've been getting excited, you have.
Yeah,
we were talking about it before, and all sorts of different wild shouts were flying about that I won't even bring in because I don't want to get us too giddy. But starting off, Ricky, I wanted to bring this up into conversation because I was speaking about this earlier with one of my friends, and I was saying, do you know what? I was a little bit sceptical of Benjamin Sesko when he first signed for us. One, because he wasn't our first choice striker. I mean, we originally went for Liam Delap. Then it was Gyokeres. I mean, we got linked to Ekitike for a bit. I would have loved Ekitike, to be honest. He does look really good. But then it kind of went on and on and on. And next thing you know, it's Benjamin Sesko. Whereas Arsenal were literally about to agree a deal with Benjamin Sesko. I think they wanted just a little bit too much money at the time. They were demanding around 90 million Leipzig. We ended up getting him for cheaper than that, obviously. And they pivoted and they went, you know what? We've liked Victor Gyokeres for a while. We're going to go for Victor Gyokeres. Victor Gyokeres wanted to go to Arsenal desperately. We wanted him. It's United. Sesko didn't really mind, but I think he wanted to go to United. Arsenal wanted him. So we kind of swapped targets. And I watched Arsenal at the weekend. I've been watching Gyokeres a bit. And I'm watching Sesko and I'm thinking, I'm looking at Gyokeres' age, his profile. I'm looking at Sesko's age and his profile. And I'm thinking, I think we got the better deal, Ricky. And it's so rare that United can say that. But you look at our transfer window and I'm thinking, Sesko was a better signing than Gyokeres. The scouts, however it fell, however the cookie crumbled, they knew better than me. And ultimately, our transfer window is looking pretty good.
The transfer window looks great, but I'm not absolutely convinced. I mean, what are their age? You did mention age. How old are they both?
So Benjamin Sesko is, I just want to get this absolutely correct, I'm pretty sure he is 22 years of age, okay. Benjamin Sesko. Yeah. Victor Gyokeres is 27 years of age.
Right, okay.
So 27 versus 22.
Yeah.
Quite a bit in that.
There is quite a bit in it. But it's far too early to start thinking that you've got a striker who's necessarily going to play for you for 10 or 14 years just because he's 22. He's obviously got to do the business. There's not got to be other top strikers who become available or even who come through the ranks. You never know what can happen. So I think at 27 with Gyokeres, I don't think that's a bad age either. He could play for Arsenal. Well, let's put it this way. Here's an interesting way of putting it. There's more chance of Gyokeres playing for Arsenal till he's 32 than there is Sesko playing for United till he's 32. Do you get my point?
No, I get that,
because
but
there's less years,
yeah,
exactly.
Less years.
So, and I think that could easily happen. Gyokeres might play 3, 4, 5, 6 years for United, and he might play the same for Arsenal. So I don't. When he's at a decent age, 27, Gyokeres, I don't think the ages come into it that much, unless we bought some absolute superstar, and he's doing well, Sesko. But if he was an absolute superstar and you were desperate for him to play for you for 10 years, then it would matter. But I don't think it matters the age.
I think for me, I thought Gyokeres was going to come in and he was going to potentially win the Golden Boot for Arsenal, with his track record in Portugal and stuff like that. And I thought Sesko, he's a young player, taking a bit of a risk on him. But for me, it's Sesko's hold-up play, his little touches, the way I think he keeps improving literally every single game. I mean, that pass that he put in to Mbeumo in the weekend was fantastic. And for me, Gyokeres, okay, yeah, he's not been bad. He's not been bad by any stretch. He's done a job for them. But he looks a bit clunky at times. I think maybe he's not got the same pace as what a Sesko... sorry, not the same pace. He's not got the same vision as what a Sesko has when he's looking between the lines. I think Sesko's been really good at that. And I just think Sesko is a little bit more of a presence. So I'm very happy with our recruitment on that side of things. And yeah, it's not a hate train on Victor Gyokeres. I think he's been decent, and I don't actually think he's received that much service. And Arsenal still scoring goals and still top of the league with him where he's at, and every player contributes to that. But if you ask me right here, right now, would you change that? Would you have had Gyokeres over Sesko? I say no. I'm glad. I think we got the better deal.
If you were to ask me, I'd stick with. I'm pleased with how Sesko's going, and I would probably stick with Sesko. But I think if you asked 1,000 Arsenal fans, I think 990 of them would say they'd sooner have Gyokeres.
I don't think you're right.
Right, okay.
Because I've seen a few Arsenal fans say, "Oh, I think we made a bit of a mistake not going for Sesko."
Right,
They've been liking him.
Right. Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
It's early days. The tables might turn, and like you said, it's not as if you're talking, the difference between a Haaland and. I don't know. A Haaland or a Gyokeres, he's close.
A lot of those fans who are questioning Gyokeres, it's probably because he's not scoring loads of goals, but he's scoring a few goals, isn't he? He's got.
No, yeah, he's scored a few. He's scored in the Champions League as well. What I would say is, when you talk about how transfer knock-ons do affect things, Liam Delap.
Yeah.
If things would have gone according to plan, Liam Delap would have been our striker. He was our number one target.
He's been injured all season, hasn't he?
Yep.
More or less, yeah.
Yep. And I think to myself, again, it's unfortunate that he got injured, but I look back and I'm like, despite I would have liked Champions League football. Sometimes everything happens for a reason, and I think Delap would have been the wrong move for Manchester United. One, because of injury, and then we would have been stuck, and two, because I really like Benjamin Sesko. So even though Benjamin Sesko was one of our latter options, could you imagine if we would have got Delap in first?
Well, if he'd have played for us, maybe he wouldn't have got injured. We'll never know, will we?
We'll never know. But I still think Sesko looks like one of the most exciting striker signings of the summer, and there's quite a lot of them. The only striker that's been signed in the Premier League that I would swap for Sesko right here, right now, would be Ekitike. It's the only one. I wouldn't swap Almeida. I wouldn't swap Gyokeres. I wouldn't. I wouldn't swap Delap. Definitely not. But Ekitike looks like an absolute baller. He's probably the only one that I would. But I think Sesko is really kind of turned up and stood up to that reputation that he had along in Europe. So get in the conversation what you guys would do. And Daniel Thompson says another thing with Sesko, of course, is his age. It's a big thing, especially coming into a new league. He's got stuck in personality-wide, which help him adapt quickly. A lot of people asking about the poll, Yoro or Ligt. Get voting in that conversation. The poll is going in an interesting way. Interesting way, Ricky. Lawrence Burry says, I suspect Delap would be putting a few more in. Not as good as a footballer, but classic striker scoring the bread and butter stuff. Interesting. Everyone's got a different opinion there. Next up, I wanted to chat to you about, Rick, is Elliot Anderson.
Yeah.
First of all, before I bring in the big headline, would you sign Elliot Anderson for Manchester United?
Depending on price, definitely.
Depending on price.
Definitely.
Well, it's been reported that Nottingham Forest is seeking from 100 to 120 million for Elliot Anderson.
I don't want us to sign anybody for 100 or 120 million. I want us to start getting some more bargains. And in this day and age, sometimes a £50 million player can be a bargain. So, no, I wouldn't sign him for that amount of money, no. You never know the minute the player's going to get injured, and no matter how good they are, it's such a risk, all that money, and I wouldn't pay that for him.
I think when you're looking at midfielders, there's now a trend where they're going for big money. Caicedo went for over 100 mil. Yeah. Declan Rice went for 100 mil. And then Baleba got touted in the summer for around 100 mil. Good job we didn't go for that, really. I'd still believe the young player that he is has so much potential, and my eyes didn't deceive me. Last season he was fantastic, but to go and spend that amount of money on a player that's only been good for one season is a slight worry. And with Elliot Anderson, he literally has only just broken onto the scene. I know there's reports of him being highly regarded at his previous clubs. Some quotes you can go back on of previous managers saying how good they think he is. He's doing really well for England. Kobbie Mainoo's doing really well for England. He's now not been able to get in the side. Yeah. I understand it's different managers, and I still believe Kobbie Mainoo's a fantastic player. I say that every time. But I'm with you, Ricky. I think 100 million on one player is a lot, considering United can't afford to miss with that amount of money.
Yeah, agreed. I'd like to know what Forest paid for Elliot Anderson. I'd like to know what Brighton played. You don't have to look it up. It's just an interesting point either way. I'd like to know what Brighton played for Baleba. Palace, what did they pay for Wharton? And he was on our doorstep. And he was already known as a good player and touted around as a good player. I want us to go and sign these players when they're fetching 20, 30 or 40 million, rather than when they go somewhere and then the new club putting the price through the roof.
Well, Crystal Palace paid an initial fee of 18 million for Adam Wharton, with the fee rising to 22.
That's a snip.
It's crazy, isn't it? And he was on our doorstep.
Yeah, that's a snip.
Also, Nottingham Forest paid around 35 million for Elliot Anderson.
Great signing.
Again,
that
a
money.
snip. I want to see how much Brighton paid for Baleba. What did Brighton pay for Baleba? 23.2 million.
So there's your answer. On average, those three players were about 25 million quid each, 28 million perhaps. Let's get our scouts doing the jobs properly instead.
I like it. And, you know, there's Angelo Stiller over in the Bundesliga that is very highly regarded, and the Bundesliga is supplying the Premier League with some players as of late. It seems to be the trend. At Bundesliga, and That's Football every Friday. I know Mark's been watching a lot of his games. You can actually watch the game along with Mark on That's Football, so make sure you go and do that. And he even put in the group chat the other day, Angelo Stiller, he's fantastic. He's been watching him a lot, and Stuttgart are doing really well, and I think his release clause is around that 30 to 40 million mark, said to rise because they have a get out of paying a fee of €2 million to get out of that release clause. But still, the max that Stiller's probably going to go for is around 50 mil. That you can tolerate. I mean, I look at the likes of Cunha and Mbumo. Them two players, they were expensive. They were around 65 million each. Premier League proven, first team ready, quality players. Think about what Liverpool paid for Isak and Wirtz separately. Both over 100 million. I think Wirtz was touching on 100 million. Isak was over 100 million. And you're telling me that we got both Cunha and Mbumo for just over what they've paid for one of an Alexander Isak, and that's how you need to do business. Even Ligt, for example, who's tearing it up right now, I think we bought him for around £40 million for Bayern Munich. Very, very, very good piece of business, and I feel like we're moving more into that direction. So as good as Elliot Anderson is, and I think he'd be top on that list, to be honest with you, 100 million is an absolute joke, and I don't think any club's going to pay that.
I agree. I wouldn't be paying that for it.
Patrick Lynch says, with no Champions League football, we at least know what the players that came to the club last summer came because they wanted to be at the club. That is a big plus. Yeah, excellent point from you, Patrick. And, you know, there was other Champions League clubs on offer for both of them players. Spurs was right up in it with Mbumo, and he was having to hold Brentford off accepting that offer because he wanted to come to us. Cunha had Champions League offers as well, so yeah, I think that's a really important thing to talk about. Couple of other chats coming in. We have Sesko fits the style more than Ekitike. Would never trade Sesko for Ekitike. Sesko is way better. People saying they'd agree with me on that one. What I would say is Sesko does fit Amorim's style very, very well, which again is important for us. But Amorim's adapted slightly. JB Sihar says Arsenal paid 100 million for Rice. I believe that's our Wharton. Last point I would make on the midfielder comment, Ricky, is Caicedo is excellent for Chelsea. Rice has been transformative for Arsenal. If it's that sort of player, is it worth it? Is Wharton that sort of player?
It's worth it. It's worth it in hindsight when they do bring such an effect to your team, but you're not absolutely certain. You're never 1,000,000% sure that it's definitely going to work. I know there's plenty of time for it still to work, but look at the money that Liverpool have spent on Wirtz, and he's not getting a game. He's not getting a start regularly, is he? It's difficult for him to fit into the side. A little bit different with a more defensive player like Rice. And Caicedo, a little bit different because you've got more chance of settling in that defensive role. It's more or less obvious that you work rate, you're tackling. These are things that you can make sure happen for you. With a creative player, you can't make sure that it's going to happen, which is Wirtz is a creative player, isn't he? So I just think I just think it's okay in hindsight saying, yeah, it's gone great. I would say from what I've seen of Rice, definitely it's worked out well for Arsenal, and it was a decent piece of business even at that money. And he's also not got injured, so they've had him about 3 seasons and he's not had a serious injury, because that can happen. You know what I mean? I'm always worried about spending 100 million quid and the lad gets a serious injury 3 weeks down the line or 3 months down the line. So they've probably already had their money's worth out of Declan Rice.
I mean, João Fernando says, review all 100 million signings. Very few of them do that well. Party like it is 1999 says, just wait till Sesko adjusts more to the league. Thank you very much for that super chat. Adam Wharton is our Declan Rice, someone said. I mean, apparently Adam Wharton is rumoured to have a gentleman's agreement where he can leave for 60. Right. I'd pay 60 for Adam Wharton.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
I mean, especially when you look at the fact our midfield as a whole is probably going to have a massive shake-up at the end of the season due to varying different factors. But just speaking about style of play there, Ricky, because there was a couple of people talking about how Sesko suits our style of play, and we were having a bit of a conversation about this off air, and I wanted to bring it on air. A lot of people are saying, look, we're winning now. This can work. What Amorim's trying to do it can work, but he has changed up the way we play in the game, hasn't he?
Yeah, without a doubt. Certainly the last 2 games. You know, I've seen a lot of people sort of saying, it was never the system. It was never the system. As far as I'm concerned, the system's changed. You know, Mbeumo and Kuna against Liverpool and against Brighton. You know, you've got there's supposed to be 2 6s and 2 10s, aren't they? You know, in front of each other. That's what a 10 is, and that's what a 6 is. But these two, they drop in next to them all the time when we're out of possession, which is when you look at your team shape. Don't look at somebody's team shape or formation when you're attacking, because when you're attacking, players make runs off the ball. You know, there's all sorts of different things going on when you're attacking. So it's difficult to tell what a formation is when your team is on the attack. When the opposition have got the ball and you fall into your defensive shape, that's when you can see what formation you're playing. And then when you win the ball back, you break forward, obviously. So we're playing at the minute against both Liverpool and Brighton. We've played with a back 5, we've played with 4 across the midfield and 1 up top. That's how it's been. Against Liverpool, it was only half a man up top, really, because Sesko didn't play at Liverpool. It was Mason Mount and we had Kuna. So really, you know, let's be honest, at Liverpool, they were all behind the ball when the opposition had the ball. So we're not playing, whatever you want to call it, the people call it 3-4-3, or, you know, we're playing a 5 at the back, 4 in midfield and 1 up top. That's what we're playing.
I agree with you.
I don't care what anyone says.
And I think Mason Mount was kind of pivotal in that a little bit, because he was doing it anyway.
Yeah,
he was dropping into midfield anyway.
Yeah.
And now that everybody's kind of singing from the same hymn sheet, it's working out really well for us.
When we're under pressure, look where Mbeumo is helping out Ahmad, just like any right winger.
Work machine.
Just like any right winger would, you know.
And Amorim actually, in his post-match comments, did mention how much of a machine Bryan Mbeumo is, getting back, helping out defensively. He even mentioned it's great what Cunha's doing, getting his first goal, but he said he's improved a lot defensively. He's obviously very happy with the defensive contributions that these forward players are making, and that's Arsenal's bread and butter as well, and they're top of the league, and Saka has spoken about it openly, saying that Arteta drills into them. Going back is as important as going forward, and look how well their defence is doing. It is important. So, yeah, it's an interesting point that I thought I'd bring to all you people. 2
or 3 times at the weekend, I saw Kuna winning the ball back near his own corner flag. You know, he's playing as when they've got the ball, he's playing as a wide left midfield player.
Brilliant. I mean, a lot of people are asking what this poll is about. Just under 1,500 votes in it. Keep your votes going. And while them votes are coming in, remember everyone, link in the description, your United Stand Christmas jumper is there to be purchased. Make sure you go and get it. I can't wait to have ours. I'm waiting for them to come in.
Can't wait.
As soon as it gets into November, then it's acceptable, isn't it? Yeah. And we're right on the edge. November at the weekend. Forest game away is on. I mean, all the build-up's going to be on the United Stand, and, you know, make sure you get your Christmas jumper, because in them games counting down till Christmas, it'll be fantastic to wear it all together.
I hope you've got one to fit me.
Oh, Ricky, absolutely will be. And you know what? You're on a health kick, aren't you?
I am on an health kick, yeah.
Yeah, he's.
Don't need one quite as big as I needed a month ago now.
Exactly. So here we are. Well, make sure you get yours. You can match with us. But this poll this poll. Who should play right-sided centre-back? Ricky, I'll let you take the reins on this. Why have we put this poll into the chat?
That poll's there mainly because we were chatting in our little group chat with a few of us in it this morning.
Fans Forum one.
The Fans Forum group chat. Where I said, the first name on the team sheet is Luke Shaw, and quite rightly, one or two said, what about Lemons? So Lemons is obviously a first name on the team sheet at the moment. They wouldn't swap him. But there was a few sort of saying it's the Ligt who's the first name on the sheet. But the way something I've noticed is at Brentford 4 games ago, Maguire played as the central centre-back and Ligt got shifted to the right and we got battered 3-1. So it was Ligt, it was Maguire, it was Shaw, we got battered. But the next time we played our next toughest game, well, even more tough game, we played Liverpool away. And again, it was Ligt, Maguire and Shaw. So in the tough away games, and by the way, he did that at Liverpool, having seen them lose 3-1. Only 2 weeks earlier at Brentford. So Maguire, when he decides to play him, he plays him as the central centre-back.
Because in that game in between the Sunderland game, it went back to
Yoro
and Shaw. Yeah.
So if you look at our last 4 games, obviously Brighton are a top side, but Brentford away is a tough game. I would suggest that the 2 toughest games out of the 4 are Liverpool away and Brentford away. I would just about prefer to play Brighton at home than I would Brentford away. So the 2 toughest games, Maguire has played as the central centre-back and Ligt has shifted to the right. Now, he's not doing that, the manager, for a laugh or for a bit of fun. He's doing that because in those, even though it went wrong at Brentford, and that which makes it more important to realise that he still did it at Liverpool, the manager thinks that he's got a better chance in those tough games. He's not doing it for no reason. He thinks he's got a better chance with Maguire as the central centre-back and Ligt as the right-sided centre-back. So we've now got another away. In the 2 away games out of the last 4, it's been Ligt and Maguire, and in the 2 home games, it's been Yoro and Ligt. We've now got another away game coming up, but it's against Forest, and I shouldn't say only because things can go badly wrong. But Forest are in the bottom 3, but not only that, Maguire wasn't fully fit at the weekend, was he? He wasn't even on the bench at the weekend. So I don't think it'll happen this week against Forest, but the week after, Spurs away, you might find Maguire plays again, and Ligt again will play to the right. I know it's still got to happen, but if that happens, that will mean that out of 6 games, he's chosen Maguire as his central centre-back, which is the most important position. So the manager is looking like, despite how Ligt's playing, and these are facts, by the way, even though it's only...
Ligt has been fantastic.
Yeah, but even though it's only looking like it's looking like in the tough games, the manager prefers to play Maguire. Certainly over the last 4. Let's see if he gets a game against Spurs. Because if he plays against Spurs, it'll be 3 out of 6, the 3 toughest games out of 6. So if Maguire plays, so here's the question, this is why the poll's running. If he goes with Maguire as his central centre-back, obviously Shaw's going to play, whether you like it or not. Shaw's got that left-sided berth nailed down. So would you, and I know the manager keeps going with Ligt to the right, but what makes it interesting is obviously Ligt's a fan's favourite and Yoro is a fan's favourite. So that's why it makes the poll interesting for me. So if he goes with Maguire, whether it's at Forest or whether it's at Spurs, if he goes with Maguire and Shaw, central and left, who would you, the fans, go with for the right-sided spot? Would you go with Yoro or Ligt?
Well, the votes are in, and it's 75% Yoro.
Wow.
25% Ligt. But I think what people are voting is they're assuming that Ligt is taking the central centre-back role because we didn't give him that little piece of information.
You've not really explained it as much, yeah.
But now that we've explained it, I'm going to get another one running just to see what people think there. So end that poll, and now we've explained... So
here's the important thing. Yeah. If you do not pick Ligt as your right-sided centre-back, he's not playing. Right, so that's the important thing to remember.
I think Ligt has to play. I said it on the fans forum, and I'll say it again. I think he's been one of the best centre-backs in the league this season, alongside Gabriel and Van der Ven. I think he's been really, really good. You know how good I think Luke Shaw is, but not many people agree. But I think Luke Shaw is fantastic, and he's consistently underrated just because people don't really like him because of his injury record. But yeah, I think Ligt has to play for Manchester United. And I did say at the time when we were discussing this a little bit earlier that I think he goes with Maguire in games where he's planning to sit in a little bit. Brentford, we didn't do that. Maguire was playing basically on the halfway line and we got absolutely rinsed for it. I'm just not saying it's all Maguire's fault. The team shape should have been better across the pitch, and Bruno even said that himself. But in the games like the Liverpool away, in the game like it's Spurs away, where I think we will sit in a little bit, that's where Maguire thrives. I think Brighton I think Maguire against Brighton at home, where the Ligt's coming straight into the midfield, pressing high up the pitch. Shaw's doing the same thing. I think Maguire gets caught out, and I think that's where Yoro steps up perfectly with the pace that he's got, because he covered so well. Whereas Maguire, I think he'd get caught a lot in that sort of game.
I think you bang on, Beth. But the interesting bit about that is the game, and he's clearly done this, and I think the manager would agree with you, and I think he'd say, yeah, that's the reason. In the games where we're playing on the front foot, I don't think he wants to play Maguire. But in the games where we're playing more defensively, he wants to play Maguire. And when he wants to play Maguire, he plays him in the centre, Ligt goes to the right. But those games are obviously the tougher games. So if we're playing a really, really tough game, he wants to play Maguire. That's the reason for the poll. If he plays Maguire, is it going to be Ligt, or would you choose Ligt or Yoro to the right? Now, obviously, Yoro's passing's cuter, I think, than Maguire or Ligt's. I think his passing's cuter. So that's the reason why Yoro plays in some of these. You shouldn't really say this in the Premier League, but let's be honest, not all games can be as hard as every game's not the same, is it? Some games are tougher than others. So, Maguire's coming in for the tougher games, and it's as simple as that.
Well, Arian says different games require different players. It's simple, and they've all got different traits. And for example, I think Maguire's a lot slower on the turn, maybe a little bit clunkier than the likes of a Ligt or a Yoro, but I think his passing is good, and I think he's top aerially. And everyone's got different traits, so yeah, it's going to be interesting. But you can't deny the fact if Maguire does start against Spurs away, and let's see if he starts against Forest away, but I don't think he will. No, if he does start against Spurs away, he's starting the big games. He started against Chelsea, bear in mind, as well at home, and I know that's not an away game, but he's starting against Chelsea, started against Liverpool, probably going to end up starting against Spurs, and if he does, then you do have to kind of signify his importance to the team. Well,
I think so.
Amorim feels he's an important member of the team. And we have, get your votes in. I've made my vote, get your votes in there, and we'll have them to you in a minute before we wrap up. Class of 99 says, does Shaw still have it nailed down once Ligt is back?
I think so, yeah. I think he's played too well.
I agree. If Shaw continues the form that he's on, I personally think he will stay in the team. It's an unpopular opinion, but I just think he's playing really well, and I actually think him and Ligt complement each other really well too. So, yeah, I do think he does, but I can already see a lot of people don't think that. So
what, they don't think that Shaw will keep it? No, I get that.
Here's a question for you, Ricky. If Luke Shaw, you knew he would be fit, you knew he would stay fit and he's not going to get injured, would you have him at wing back and Martinez at centre back?
I'd be sorely tempted to. And the main reason being, I mean, there's two things here. There's two important things. First of all, your centre backs are the most important players on your pitch. Your keeper and your centre backs are the most important players, bar none. That's why I always say, and people laugh at me, they say Luke Shaw. And when I say Luke Shaw's the best player, your centre backs, like Arsenal's best two players for me are the two centre backs. We spoke earlier. I've had a mate of mine, Peter, if you're watching. I've had a mate of mine saying, is it 15 goals we've conceded, and yet people are saying we're doing all right defensively? Arsenal have let 3 in.
They are ridiculous, by the way. I'm starting to think, how do you stop them?
It's a ridiculous stat. Now, they've let 3 in. Now, let's add to this what Fergie used to say. Forwards win matches, defenders win leagues. Your defenders are your most important players, and they're the best players. They are the best and most important players. If I could swap, as much as we love Mbeumo and Kuna, and I know you wouldn't do it because fans love forwards, they love the goal scorers, they love the players that can run with the ball. If you could swap them for Arsenal's 2 centre-backs, you'd be stupid not to. I swear to God, you'd be stupid not to. Start keeping clean sheets week in, week out. You've only got to nick a goal like Arsenal are doing. So the centre-backs are the vital players in your team. And I know we play with 3, but Luke Shaw's playing as a centre-back. I forgot where we're going with that now. But
if you'd play him left wing-back if you knew you weren't going to get fit.
So would we play him as left wing-back? So your centre-backs are the most important players in your team, but we are so poor at times on the left. It'd be really tempting to put Martinez in and play Shaw as a left wing back. So it'd be the toss of a coin, really, Beth.
If I knew wholeheartedly that Luke Shaw could stay fit, I would do it in a heartbeat. I really would, because I think he's excellent at left wing back. I think he's a very good left-sided centre back, and I know loads don't agree, but I do. But I think Martinez is absolutely good enough if he can stay fit as well to play in that role.
I'd love to see it. Let's just say Shaw was definitely fully fit to keep bombing up and down. I would love to see it. I
would love to see it. I mean, let's see on that one. Smash a like on the video, everyone, if you've not already. The results on the poll are 67% Ligt, 33% Yoro. So it changed when people realised it was only between the two. So 67% of you guys would go with Ligt. Would that be your vote?
Yeah.
That was my vote in the chat as well. JB Sahar says, I don't want Ruben Amorim to do subs unless we are 4-0 up. I mean, that. Well, at least he probably learned a bit of a lesson. I think he just made too many at once and too many in important positions. I still, as much as I think we're doing so much better, and I've got a lot of praise for Amorim, I still don't like when he changes his defence. And especially when he changes his defence and his midfield at the same time. It's a big, important chunk of the field where you're making some changes and it's going to affect the game, and it doesn't always affect us in a positive way, and it didn't against Brighton. So yeah, I think that's something he needs to learn from. I think he's going to keep doing it. He likes to change a defender. I don't like it. I really don't like it. Savada says Yoro, De Ligt and Martinez is our best 3 centre-backs, period. Well, everyone's entitled to a different opinion on that one, and Amorim clearly does keep using Maguire in some big important games. Let's see how that progresses. Ricky, just a final question, and I'll put this to the chat as well before we wrap up. Manchester United have announced the Player of the Month nominees for October. Sonny Larmans, Matthijs de Ligt, Matthijs Cunha and Brian Mbeumo. Who would you award it to?
So obviously Luke Shaw's not there. Without Luke Shaw being there. It's a tough one, mate. But Mbeumo, Cunha, Lemons and De Ligt. Wow. I'd probably just about go on Mbeumo. It's such a tough one. Such a tough one.
Just about go on Mbeumo?
Yeah.
I would have it between Lemens and Mbeumo. I'd want to give it Lemens because I feel like
he's made such a difference.
He's unbeaten.
Yeah.
And I think but Mbeumo's just been on fire.
And he's a goalie. I'm telling you how important defenders are. Do you know what I mean?
If you're giving it Mbeumo, I'll give it. But Mbeumo's just been so good. If you're giving it Mbeumo, I'll give it Larmans.
Okay. That's sweet.
It's very, very mixed in the comments.
But there's a few saying De Ligt, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, Lemens and Mbeumo probably getting the most comments. I'd say Lemens is probably winning it in the comments over there, but it's good. I remember times at United where you're struggling to find even one contender for Player of the Month. But now we've got multiple, and it's like, who's going to get it? And that's just the beauty of winning football games.
Of course it is, yeah.
Jacob Fatu says, what about left-sided centre-back De Ligt, central centre-back Maguire, and right-sided centre-back Yoro? No. I like a left footer on the left.
It wouldn't be quite as good, but it'd be solid, wouldn't it? But we wouldn't. People don't understand they don't understand the quality that Luke Shaw and the calmness and the coolness that he brings to the defence, which spreads through the team. And he's always seems to have time on the ball. There was an incident at the weekend where De Ligt made a fantastic tackle in deep into the second half in the left back area. Obviously, it was after. I'm saying obviously he has to cover sometimes anyway. But it was after Shaw went off, and De Ligt had to go out to the left back area and make a tackle, and he won a tackle, and You probably remember it. It was a sliding tackle.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
The crowd went, it was brilliant. And he won that tackle. And he jumped up. It did actually go to a United player, but I watched how he did it, and I'm convinced he was just booting the ball away. So it was great what he did. He won the tackle, and he jumped up. He didn't look up. He just jumped up, and he just booted it. And he had loads of time. And I'm thinking, calm down, lad. Luke Shaw there would win that tackle, jump up and look for a little pass, try and get us moving. But De Ligt, I'm deadly serious, Beth, he just booted, and it worked out great. It went straight to a United player. But I'm convinced he didn't know that. He just jumped up, won the tackle, and thought, I'd clear my lines. I'll show it you on video if you want.
You can do.
He just cleared his lines, and you do. If you're gonna make strides forward, you need your players to be calmer in possession.
Interesting comment from Josh the Red. Ricky, you're misinterpreting Amorim. De Ligt is the first defender on the team sheet for Amorim. That's why he plays him in every game. He would start De Ligt over Maguire before dropping De Ligt. I think that's a good point.
He would start De Ligt over Maguire.
Before dropping him. He's the first name on the team sheet.
What's the interest? It's proper interesting now. I'm not going to...
I agree with him. I agree with him.
Yeah, but I'm not going to argue against it. But why would he move De Ligt from that position against Liverpool away? Answer me that.
Because he wants to fit Maguire in.
There's your answer then. It's not true then, is it?
I agree with you. I agree with you, Joshua.
But it's not true, is it?
I agree with you, Joshua.
It's blatantly not true. He moves him to put Maguire in when we've got a really hard game.
No, he's moving Yoro out.
Yeah. Also, what are you saying here? That Yoro's not good enough against the big teams?
I'm not saying he's not good enough, but I think he prefers Maguire in there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're wrapping up. Thank you everyone for watching. Get your comments in. Argue amongst yourselves in the comments. It's great to have Ricky on this afternoon show to join me. And just remember everybody, that football is back on That's Football tomorrow night. You have Liverpool versus Palace in the Carabao Cup. That'll be a good watch along.
Yeah, it could easily be. Yeah. Just hope Liverpool don't turn the corner tomorrow night.
We just want to keep seeing Liverpool lose. We absolutely love it on here. And then on Friday, Bundesliga, like I spoke to you about earlier, Augsburg versus Dortmund. The stream starts at 7:15 on That's Football. You get to watch the game, you get to scout the players alongside Goldbridge as well. It's fantastic. Make sure you're over there at that time, 7:15. And then on Saturday, Manchester United versus Nottingham Forest. Can we do it? 4 in a row.
Can't wait.
Away from home. 1 p.m. countdown to kick off. Watch along starts at 2:30. Road trip in the morning. You're going to be loving it. And you never know, I might be doing another TikTok again with you, Ricky.
Yeah, let's see.
Everyone's loving that. Have you seen it?
No, not really.
Make sure you go and have a look. Anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for getting involved in all the polls, and we will see you on the next one.